In 9 months, he was able to lose 125 pounds, have a loose skin surgery, and then step on stage as a transformation model. I was always an athlete, but after 2 kids, I had my mom bod, and sports weren't cutting it anymore. In 9 months, through bodybuilding and building muscle, I not only became stronger than ever, but I was able to convert all of my fat cells into muscle cells. When you go through that experience together, we became even closer as a family. Our kids were looking at us, watching us, and we would quite often find them in the gym downstairs, lifting up their mini weights. We were seeing them at 2 years old, 4 years old, working out, and that habit is still carrying them till today, being health focused and health conscious. You can't bribe kids to eat healthy. You can't force them. They have to understand, learn, and be self-motivated. So that's what we do. We just educate them, and then they become the advocates of their own health.
And we are live. We got TereZa and Anthony. How y'all doing today?
Fantastic.
Incredible.
Glad to hear it. So I intentionally do not do much research on my guests. Like, I just let them come on and then we just let the conversation happen. I feel like if I don't do much research, I have to actually listen to what you're saying, and it makes for a better conversation. I'll typically do like 30 seconds of Instagram, searching on y'all beforehand. And let me tell you, y'all have got a very robust everything, brand profiles. I mean, it's hard to figure out what direction I even want to take this conversation, because y'all seem to have your hands in just about everything.
Yeah. I mean, it's mainly all things health, wellness, longevity, family, documentaries. We've been through, our life journey is a little bit different because we're experiential. Whatever we produce, it's something that we're going through ourselves. It's a lot like Morgan Spurlock when he did Super Size Me, when he ate McDonald's for a year, and we're that way. We're that kind of experiential documentarian.
I like it. And y'all were big into real estate before you got big into the health space, right? So that y'all had seen success in that realm, and then your weight loss transformation, dropping 120 some odd pounds, kind of puts you on the map in the fitness space. I guess, with the time that we have, we probably can't dive into every facet of what y'all have done, but let me just start this off. Of all the things y'all are involved in, what has been the most challenging and the most fulfilling work that you've done?
I think every aspect, right? Like when we were in real estate, we helped thousands of people create careers and income for themselves. Being in real estate and running a brokerage means you have to get independent contractors. It's against the law to pay a real estate agent a salary, so they have to cut their own teeth and make money and survive on commission. So it forced us to develop a system that allows people to make money for them, mini intrapreneurs, not entrepreneurs, intrapreneurs, where they work within a system. So we developed that as a small mom and pop brokerage, and then eventually franchised it and allowed people to be their own franchise owners. So we scaled that business. And then when we ran out of friends and family to hook up with this opportunity, we started a real estate school and helped people get licensed and birthed new people into the industry, which then birthed a whole bunch of other businesses, the billboard industry and understanding media, understanding how to advertise on the radio, how to do commercials, all the things that you learn from being a serial entrepreneur. So we picked up all those different skill traits, and part of really being a business owner, as you're doing, as many other people doing, is you get into video and media production because you're making commercials about your company. You're working with videographers, photographers, telling your company story, creating systems and protocols. So, I got into media and entertainment, and TereZa has a background in media and entertainment as well. And then when we got together and got married, we decided to go a little bit deeper into documentary story filmmaking, which then births a whole bunch of a different catalog of award-winning documentaries that were more health-centric. We started focusing on health. But on the business side of things, we built a nice portfolio of businesses that we built and exited. And then we built a nice portfolio of real estate that we ended up keeping. So we got really good at understanding cash flow, ground-up development, landlording, things like that. So all things kind of intertwined and connected together. And so we formed a company called Lolli Brands Entertainment because we brand entertainment, edutainment, health, all together in the mix. We make it relatable for the general public.
Totally. When did y'all start working together as like a team, husband wife duo combination?
I think since the day we met, we actually met with work in mind. And so I was a recording artist at the time, and I had an old pop rock female band. So he came in as my mentor. So we actually started with a very working kind of relationship, mentor-mentee relationship. We developed a respect towards each other, admiration towards each other, which then developed into love and family. But it was definitely built on a very, very strong pillar of respect. But actually, the way we started working, I think it was from his transformation journey back in 2018.
Yeah.
So
Nice.
again, like if you can see, anything he touched turned into gold as far as business goes. But one thing he couldn't tackle was his weight loss journey. And anytime he tried to lose weight, he actually not only failed, but gained more weight because he was focused on losing weight. It wasn't until we really understood it's supposed to be a transformation. So back in 2018, when we had our son, and our son came with a few health ailments that it's a different story. I'll tell you in a little bit. But at the time, we discovered the world of transformation. And that really clicked in Anthony's head, in my head as a support person. And so we quickly flew over a transformation coach who lived with us for over 9 months. I flew over my mom. His mom was living with us. We developed this whole support team and an action plan, and we dove into it like a business plan. So in 9 months, he was able to lose 125 pounds, have a loose skin surgery, and then step on stage as a transformation model. After that journey, we recognized what a fun experience is it to work together when we have one mission, one goal, and we're working as a team. It almost felt like playing a game, a family game.
Yeah.
So it's really fun. After that, we kind of upped the notches, and he started training me so I could go through my own transformation journey, which was a kind of mini transformation from a mom bod to a 2-time bikini pro bod. Anyway, we always joke about it because he was the formerly obese guy for 40 years and I was a former champion. Like I was an athlete growing up, 3rd place ping pong champion, volleyball champion, swimming champion, like anything you could think about. So I was always an athlete. But after 2 kids, I had my mom bod, and sports weren't cutting it anymore. Yoga and sports and what I knew wasn't working. So he said, look at me, in 9 months, through bodybuilding and building muscle, I not only became stronger than ever, but I was able to convert all of my fat cells into muscle cells. Let's try that. And I was like, I'll trust you because you did it in front of my eyes. So he was able to turn me into a 2-time bikini pro bod in 8 months. Now, when you go through that experience together, you're like, okay, we are made for each other because it didn't break us. It actually brought us closer. We became even closer as a family. Our kids were looking at us, watching us. They were only 2 and 4 at the time. And we would quite often find them in the gym downstairs, lifting up their mini weights. They're like, we were actually finding home videos last night on Sunday. We always reminisce about old times, and we were seeing them at 2 years old, 4 years old, working out. And that habit is still carrying them till today, being health focused and health conscious. So these are the little stepping stones that made us understand how fun is it to work together as a family. Then we brought on our kids. Now they work with each other, and together we created some of the biggest health and wellness documentaries, now launching Biohack Yourself Media, which is the #1 health and wellness media platform. And
it's all about lived experience. That's really what it boils down to, is just being relatable. I think everybody can relate to being a son, a father, a wife, a mother. And so we kind of put it all out there. Like, if you watch our documentaries, you see me there with blood bags and my wife helping me use the bathroom because I can't sit on the toilet. Like, we're very open and transparent in our documentaries, from TereZa breaking down crying, from us, her going on extreme diets, to being almost getting into menopause at 35 years old from competing too much.
I did actually 3 months of early menopause.
A lot of things that people can relate, from us thinking we have perfect kids to maybe our son was misdiagnosed 9 times and maybe we thought he had autism at one point. And so, like, That's not the case. He's a child actor now.
At the age of 2 months old, he was getting labeled all kinds of weird diagnoses by the medical system.
So there's
7
something in our
misdiagnosis.
family's journey, that everyone can relate to, and we learn and with the audience.
Yeah. No, that's the key. It's cool to see other couples doing it and document too. Like my wife and I built our business together. I mean, we slept on a freaking warehouse floor for 3 years building the business. Like we've documented on YouTube, and like our kids. We just had our second son 4 weeks ago now, and they like see us training together, like being on top of our nutrition. And it's like people oftentimes take all that for granted, but like when you're working alongside your significant other, your spouse, and you're doing so in an environment of like love and caring, and your kids see that, like that impacts them in immeasurable ways. Like that's going to transcend anything that y'all are knowingly teaching them. And they're just going to pick up on that, and it's going to carry them through life.
We noticed there was the algorithms don't show enough positivity from couples that stay together.
Mm-hmm.
You watch enough, social media, enough TV shows. It's all soap operas and dramas. It's all death and divorce. It's all unhappiness. There isn't enough couples out there really showing that you can have, if not all, most of it all, and you can have happiness, and you can have highs and lows, but still have more highs than lows. And I think that what we decided to do was really offer solutions, not just talk about the problems, because a lot of documentaries, they're fear-mongering, they talk, and they're important too. They need to let you know what's going on here. Exposés. Yeah. Those are important, but that's not the work that we do. We say, here's the problem, right? But here's, like, if someone's drowning, we don't describe the water, we throw you the life vest. We just tell you exactly what we're doing to remedy this problem.
To us too. Like we didn't know anything. The whole journey started from, like I said, from our son. Like he was doing fine with his transformation. We understood the whole path, right? It was nutrition coaching, workout coaching. You're going to go from here to here. We created vision boards, and it was kind of mainly based on his mindset. And his mindset is stronger than anything I've ever seen. So we kind of knew he's going to succeed because we've got the right tools. But when it came to our son Legend and the misdiagnosis that we were given and the medication that were given to us with each misdiagnosis, which later on we discovered the ingredients of those medications would have given a whole slew of other sicknesses and illnesses, we were literally helpless. So it took me going through 20 functional medicine doctor visits and really testing anything and everything on this kid to really put the pieces of the puzzle. Who else has that kind of time, money, and persistence? Right?
Mm-hmm.
Not many people would continue to keep going. So we recognized early on that the journey we were going through, discovering what's going on with Legend, so many parents were silently suffering with that. And yet they have to settle for one or two opinions because that's what their insurance covers, because they have a job to maintain. They don't have the time. So we said, we owe this to everyone we know. And then it turned into everyone we don't know globally. But we owe this to humanity to really bring our journeys to the masses, to the mainstream, to the everyday person, because the discoveries we were making were blowing our minds. And then ultimately how we were able to ignite Legend's wellness. He had 2 copies of MTHFR gene mutation, and we had mold in our HVAC system. Now, again, that took 20 different tests to go through to understand that we didn't need to label him as on the spectrum and giving him this and this and this medication and therapy. The moment we detoxed him with herbal supplements, he was brand new. The kid was like, the lights went on. So we understood how many of our friends were suffering with that. And that kind of birthed the whole movement of creating solution and tool-based documentaries like Biohack Yourself, where we interviewed 114 of the world's most leading experts. Most of them represent a brand, a product, or a tool.
Like documentaries, as you know, Robert, with podcasts, when people listen and watch podcasts, they're there to learn and apply.
Mm-hmm.
And the same science is in documentaries. So when we did the Fat Lolli, the Six-Pack Lolli documentary that showed my transformation, over a dozen men stopped themselves from committing suicide because they were inspired. So many people reach out to us and they're like, I lost all this weight because I watched your documentary. Now I know it's possible. People started reaching out to TereZa when we did the Super Lollies docuseries. They were like, oh my God, I thought I was the only one with a mom bod that had no solutions.
Postpartum collapse.
I love what you guys did together as a couple. And we did other about loose skin surgery. We did many documentaries since then. But the one that struck the biggest chord was the Biohack Yourself documentary. Now, we had so much experience in filming documentaries about us and our journey. And we finally got a chance to, we thought we nicked all of our issues, but it turns out we only look good on the outside. We weren't fixing what was the real problem on the inside. And then when we did Biohack Yourself, we interviewed Robert F. Kennedy Jr. when he was running for president, Dave Asprey, Bruce Lipton,
Dr. Amen,
Dr. Daniel Amen, everyone, 114 of the biggest names. And like TereZa mentioned, then we interviewed founders of red light therapy companies, founders of hyperbaric chambers, founders of gut protocols, like Dr. Steve Gundry, all these different people. And they had their own pains of passion.
It was so important to bring those founder stories because we didn't want to just talk about products and, like products and services. We wanted the audience to understand why did we hand select these tools and solutions for you to start your biohacking journey. And our slogan became, go biohack yourself. So every star in our documentary said that because it's a call to action to you because you got to biohack yourself. Nobody's going to do it for you. And we basically gained athlete, celebrity level information through this documentary filming. Because I always would ask Anthony, I'll be like, I wish I could just call J-Lo and ask, what is her longevity hacks? How come she's 55 years old and she's bouncing off the stage, looking sharper than ever? Like, I just wish I would know all of these celebrities' hacks and the athletes, the highest performers, or even the CEOs and the high-level entrepreneurs. How do they keep their brains so sharp? Well, we did that. We created an entire encyclopedia. We call it like the master class, had a baby with a podcast, had a baby with a documentary. That's what our Biohack Yourself docuseries is. It's like I've heard so many people watching that. They're like, I had to take my pen and paper to take notes down because it's information full and it's beneficial. You could just take action after watching it.
Well, I think the cool thing about the whole biohacking movement, because it's definitely gained a lot of traction the last probably 5 years especially, but I mean, it just keeps gaining and gaining. And I feel like the reason it's gained so much momentum is because it's putting the power into the people's hands as it should have been all along. Like up to this point, people were always going through their insurance provider, their primary care physician, and as you said, they're just shooting in the dark more often than not. Whereas with biohacking and like getting this information out there and transparent to the public, it's like giving people permission to take initiative in their own health. And nobody's going to care much about your health as you are. So like we have to take initiative. And that's the same message I've been preaching since the beginning as well. But y'all are just peeling the curtain back and making all these people who have previously been thought to be inaccessible, accessible. Yeah. And that's incredibly empowering for people that are wanting to get better.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah. Power to the people.
Yeah. But after filming Biohack Yourself, we recognized how underserved women were in the longevity space and how much there's so many holes, right? There's no testing being done on women. Women are being treated like small men. And the result of that is that 80% of women are struggling with autoimmune conditions. And how are we supposed to maintain a healthy humanity if 80% of women have autoimmune conditions, right? Because our genetics are having breakages upon breakages through generational toxicity load. And now the autoimmune conditions. So that's scary. So we dove into the women's health and we filmed SHIELD, which stands for She Healed. And we cast 77 of the world's leading experts in female longevity. We filmed that in December and January, wrapped that, and we anticipate to release this at the end of this year or next year. But it's going to change everything on women's health. And then, like you said, the biological dentistry is totally operating in a whole different planet. And we said, that's not true. Biological dentistry and biohacking are like long lost brothers. You guys have to join forces, and the women's health and the children's health and even pet longevity. And if we just become an entire globe, we'll be louder and we'll make the impact that we want to make by making real shifts.
Yeah, I think that's key. I feel like you kind of alluded to it earlier, talking about how your real estate career morphed into the media. And I feel like I've tried to build my business and empire the same way. Like a lot of people go through life looking through this lens of, work-life balance. And I've always said balance is bullshit. Like everything needs to be synergistic in nature. Everything needs to be cohesive and work together in some form or fashion. If you're rising one tide, then everything else also improves. And I feel like when you look through life through that holistic lens, you can't help for everything to get better. What does a typical day look like for y'all? Like, how do y'all structure and keep all of this stuff organized and stay productive and not pull your hair out?
I think one of the things that we do is we use our calendar, the way you would a nutrition, right? And you want to make sure you have more green on the plate. And,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of times we're very careful with the time that we spend on certain things. So when we look at our calendar, it really tells us where we were at and where we're going. And so we want to make sure that everything we do is timed and also fruitful and in alignment with our personal goals. And we have a lot of personal and professional goals, but one of the main objective is that we love spending a lot of time with each other. So we're 80-20. I would say 80% of it is focused on family and really, really just getting the best quality of life because we didn't come this far to go this far, right? So, I lost all this weight. TereZa got her health in check. We literally transformed our children's health and even our mothers. Now we're doing biological dentistry. And to do what? To only see them on the holidays, to only see them on the weekends, to only see. So now our kids are homeschooled. So we do a lot of things together with our children. Both of our mothers, they live with us. And so we spend a lot of quality time and we only spend time and we only do things that we enjoy, even on the business side of things, from interactions to things that we're filming, to business dinners, to play dates. It's really about focusing on what does the next 50 years look like and how do we give the most impact to our community, to our followers, to our friends, to our family.
Totally agree. Do you have like a team that you work with where you can delegate and outsource
Yeah, we're
responsibilities
at
that are
we're
distracting?
at 53 people on in our between just the Biohack Yourself and Lolli Brands company, and then we have additional teams in our real estate arms because we're landlords as well.
And now we have a few AI agents.
Yeah,
that
now we're now
like pretty much.
yeah, we love our AI team is probably the best, and
You can yell at them. They don't get upset. They say, I'm so sorry. Gonna fix that right now.
yeah. So we love
Nice.
that. We're really scaling with AI now too, and building in those protocols.
Talk to me about the parenting aspect. So I've got a 3-year-old and a 4-week-old, and we're probably going to go the route of homeschooling as well. Because I don't know, when I was going through school, the homeschoolers were the weird kids. But now when I meet kids that have been homeschooled, like they're typically the most respectful, hardest working, like genuinely salt of the earth, good people. So like, how did y'all structure that? How do you go about homeschooling? Because how old are your kids again?
So they're 7 and 9 right now.
Well, by the way, this is her subject matter, but I'll just tell you from my perspective, right? Because I'm 47 and, same deal. It was like the weird kids. But now it's the opposite. I'm over
Yeah.
here witnessing our children have 10 different sets of, right now they're in horseback riding class. And
That's
they're
why
with
we
a
had to
bunch,
move the
they're up
podcast.
there with a bunch of other homeschool kids in horseback riding
Yeah.
class. There's so many homeschool families now that before the after school after curricular activities were after 3 or after 5. Now they open up at 8 in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
So now they go from Muay Thai to wrestling to acting to swimming to pickleball. And guess what?
Debate, etiquette.
etiquette.
I mean, the world is our oyster because we have so much time.
And the quality of the parents that really love and care for their kids, that actually increases the quality of our friendships. When we're now doing play dates together, it's people of the same feather, birds of the same feather fly together. So we really enjoy. So not only has our children's circle have changed, but ours. Because sometimes when you're in school and they're friends with their kid friends, you're by default forced to be friends with the parents.
Right.
But the parents, they may not be on the same mindset or the same level. So I could speak to that perspective, but everything else.
So, there is a little bit of truth to fully homeschooled kids not being as outgoing. And I've noticed this. And the reason I say this, our kids were not always homeschooled. We've actually changed 5 schools. And with each school change, I've noticed great growth in my kids' personalities. And that was at a younger age, right? So obviously, at the youngest ages, they were acting and modeling. So our daughter Love started at 14 days old. She booked her first print job with Pampers Swaddlers, making $5K for a print ad at 14 days old. And then our son followed suit. So we were busy with castings, auditions, and filmings, and their personalities were growing really incredibly because on set, they were always working with adults. So their language grew immensely at a young age, and their confidence and the way they presented themselves with adults and then presenting themselves with children was nothing different. But it was very interesting when we started at the age of 4. Our daughter was 4 and our son was 2. I sent them to Montessori school for a year. That was really good experience. At the young age, Montessori school, I would say, is one of the best choices. They really showed them independence. There's kindness involved in there. There's like everybody wins kind of attitude. And I love that for that age. So I highly recommend to not just start with homeschooling. Homeschooling was our last stop. So Montessori was very good and instrumental in shaping them with their independence, with their kindness and sharing and all those habits. Then I threw them in the zoo, which was public school in New York, considered the best blue ribbon. And I was like, what does it mean? Because I'm Armenian, so I don't really know what the difference is. Yes, whatever school you go to and tour, they all are going to say that their school is the best. So you can't really judge it by that. And you can't really judge it by the parents you talk to because the parents are always going to make their decision the best decision.
Right.
So I found myself extremely confused. And I was like, okay, let's just try it. The kids are young. They'll adapt fast. I'm not afraid, right? A lot of the parents would be like, I was judged a lot. They're like, you're changing their school so much. They're going to have a problem with finding new friends. They need their circle. They need comfort. They need, what do they say? Consistency. They need predictability. And for us, life has been nothing but unpredictable. And this has made our kids resilient. So even if you want to start with homeschooling, you must make their life uncomfortable and unpredictable. So we tried for 1 year public school. It was incredibly eye-opening how horrible a school setting can be, including bullying, including not paying attention to the children, not really caring about their academic growth, but just shoving them to pass the grade. It was like the average American public school experience that we got.
Watching cartoons in the afternoon.
They would watch If it was raining, forget it. They're watching cartoons. Outside, it was just total zoo, bullying, hitting. Principals would do nothing about it. Anyway, we left that. Then I said, okay, I know this is going to be the best. We're going to go to an Orthodox Greek school. And then Anthony said, we're going to change our last name to Lolli-Lopoulos. It's going to work out. So, because our last name is Lolli. So that was the family joke. We were like, okay, Lolli-Lopoulos, let's go. That school was great. Again, back to now kindness and religion was now a big part of the schooling. Every Wednesday they would go to church. So I saw incredible changes in that school. But then we recognized that most of the teachers were the cousins and the nephews of the principal, and there was a lot of slacking going on. Our child Love is very descriptive, and she would give me full reports. She'd say, the Greek teacher would put her feet on the table and would just be on her phone and say, here, watch a Greek TV show to learn Greek. So, even though the environment was kind and small and nice, and the religion became a part of that, the academics were not really excelling. So then we were like, okay, we moved to a different state. We moved to Florida and went to one of the best private schools. And we said, that's it. This is going to be great. They're going to learn Mandarin. They're going to learn language in Spanish. They're going to learn coding. They're going to do all kinds of luxury activities. This is it. And sure enough, that was the best school experience. But then as they started growing, like our daughter was in 2nd grade and the kids and the environment started kind of going down. And all of a sudden there's boyfriends, there's kisses, there's crashes, and there's crushes. What I said, crashes. Armenian. Anyway, so we just recognized that in private schools, the children were coming from different kinds of families. Some families, the kids were really raised by the nannies. So it wasn't the most holistic and conscious environment, even though the teachers were top level, super accommodating, super VIP. You would drive your car in and the entire teacher group is there saying, welcome, love, Lolli, this way. So your child feels very important and it was very good for confidence. But inside those circles, they were like mean to each other and they would talk about weird things. So we said, okay, let's try the homeschooling. And so, look.
We did hybrid. We did our son.
Oh, yeah, we did hybrid.
Went to a soccer, a more sports-related private school.
Sure. Our daughter started homeschooling first because we said, let's try with the easy kid, and the one that knows how to already read and write and can have more agency and independence.
And there was a radical ramp up of her intelligence, her attitude. Everything was just, whoa.
And how old was she when y'all started doing that?
She was middle of second grade, so I want to say 7.5. And yeah, we found tutors, capable tutors, and we signed up for this virtual program. It's called FLVS Flex program. Flex is you don't have to show up at a certain time on Zoom. You could just submit your projects by the end of the week. As long as you submit your project, you're good. So we hired the tutors and they would have their 2-hour learning.
Yeah, I want to say something about that. Homeschool doesn't mean you have to teach your kid.
Yeah.
There's a marketplace for teachers that it's almost like Fiverr, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's a marketplace of highly former principals, former assistant principals. Like the marketplace is vast.
And they love
you cut your own deal with the teachers because they're hustling too. They're trying to make ends meet. And they also want to, some of them, have husbands that work and they just want to feel fulfilled and they want to do stuff on the side. So they're not looking
tutoring to kids that go to school. They do tutoring after school, so their mornings are free.
Right.
So we basically
what was the name of that website again? That resource?
No, the
FLVS.
FLVS.
That's in Florida.
That's the Florida, but there's a whole marketplace for teachers that are on the market. Just like you want to hire a graphic designer, there's so many teachers that honestly left the school system because they didn't, for one reason or other, there were certain laws mandating them to do certain things that they didn't want to. So they left to another state. So they're brand new, but they have so much educational knowledge.
Yeah.
We know some great teachers that left New York because they were mandated to get, vaccines or whatever, and they didn't want to adhere to that. So they're here now. So there's a vast marketplace. So you would think it's expensive, but it's not.
Well, it does get expensive. Like when I calculate everything, what we spend, it's equal of a private school. Because we don't just do the homeschooling and we don't do it ourselves. I know plenty of parents who actually take it upon themselves. They'll do the homework themselves. So it's completely free. And the state of Florida actually gives homeschooled kids $8,000 to homeschool. So there's all kinds of avenues. But what we decided to do, we said, okay, if we're going to homeschool, we're going to get the best out of these kids and we're going to throw them into everything we always wanted to do, except we didn't have the time. Because after school, you can only do 1, maximum 2 classes. So now we have a whole curriculum that is for our preference, like what we want our kids to excel in. So we do only 2-hour learning because I learned somewhere like math, for example. We're only doing math on Mondays for 2 hours and that's it. Then you go into math class again next Monday for 2 hours. Language arts, Tuesdays, 2 hours. And then we swap between the kids, social studies and then science. That's how they best retain the information that they learn. And then throughout the afternoon, we have a pickleball private. We used to have swimming private until they got so good that they made it to the swim team. So they're in the swim team. And then they have etiquette class, they have acting class, they have videography/editing class now. That's a new addition. We have surf classes on Sunday mornings. And our homeschooling now is fun. And even on the weekends, we do sewing class. We'll do, what else do we do on Saturdays? We'll do the etiquette class anytime. Because if we're going to take them out for dinner, might as well the etiquette teacher come there and teach them while we're having dinner. So that's become their most favorite because mommy lets them order anything on the menu on etiquette class.
What kind of horseback riding are they doing right now?
Right now, it's a camp. It's a family-owned farm, and they're doing, I don't know the styles, but
They're second camp.
they're learning how to groom the horse, build a relationship. And I think it's extremely important for kids to have a loving relationship with animals.
Equine therapy, by the way. Equine therapy.
Yes.
There's a lot of studies because now that we're in biohacking, that's a biohack that a lot of people do for PTSD, a lot of, healing. And so, we feel the benefits, not just on the educational side, but just them being around the horses.
And then let me not talk about the mornings. Going from me having to be up at 6 a.m. to cook their meals and send organic produce and meals to school to now they can wake up and cook their own breakfast because they have that time. And not making a chaotic morning of like, wake up, and it's a struggle for every family. The morning fights and stress before they get the kids out to the car, and then they just drop them off. And that's what's left in their conscious memory. As they grow up, every morning is a hassle.
Oh, by the way, your wife might not like this, depending on the school. All of a sudden now you're like an assistant teacher. You're working through an app. Remember the school was like saying, this, that, like it was
found it
nonstop.
ridiculous. I'm like, if I have to have a job of a mom of school kids, like this charity event, that parent-teacher conference, this app, that app, then might as well just homeschool.
Yeah, it was becoming a whole big job. And we're like, wait a minute. And this was like, even with the schools that we were paying, like this makes no sense,
And then the homework too. Homework is
the homework,
insane.
and it's crazy because like there's all this homework, but their time at the school is oftentimes very unproductive. So it's like you can do all that homework at school if it's done efficiently, but that's never the case because they're watching cartoons, as you said.
Yeah, and recess and this. And by the way, you're also just sitting through every other student learning and asking questions.
Your kid is only as smart as the slowest kid in the class.
Yeah. And right now, our kids already made it a grade ahead, just so you know.
Yeah, no, y'all are killing it. And y'all are like, obviously, like it just seeps from you that y'all are super passionate about doing what's right by the kids and giving them the best foot forward, which is awesome, which unfortunately is not the case for a lot of parents. It's just kind of an afterthought, which is very sad. But like when y'all had kids, y'all were already killing it in the real estate game. Where was that in the timeline of y'all's like media company? Had the media really picked up at that point?
Yeah, look, we intentionally had children. Like we named them intentionally.
Awesome names, by the way. Love and Legends, pretty slick.
Thank you. Yeah, that, and we, having children is a lot like real estate, right? And everyone has kids for selfish reasons or one reason or another, especially if it's planned, right? And so if, like a piece of real estate, if you buy it and you don't nurture it and you don't take care of it, it becomes a burden, a headache, a problem, and it just becomes something that's expensive. It loses money. And that's what it is with children. If you don't nurture it and you don't architect and plan it correctly from the beginning, before you get involved, just like before you get involved in a real estate development project, you better know the P&L. You better know what it's going to cash flow. You better have your financing in order. You better know what your exit strategy is. With kids, there is no exit strategy. So so if you don't invest, and the health has a big part of it, right? The health has a big, preparing yourself, your body before you have children, which is, we're now on the journey of having 2 more because our kids are like, hey, we like this. We want a bigger squad. So the kids want 2 more kids.
I thought I was done, but now there's requests.
So they're like, so now we know better. So we're going to do better. And we're going to kind of biohack ourselves to make sure that we give our next 2 kids the best shot. But yeah, I mean, it's important that
I feel like what people don't realize, and this is what I've realized through every journey that I've been going through, is parenting is a job. And job means you have to have the qualifications, the education, and the forever, what is it called when they go to A4M? They do what? Continuing education. You have to have that in place. Why does a job require that and your parenting job, nobody's requiring that and nobody's holding you accountable? Same thing. Biohacking and being healthy is a job, and there's continuing education on that. And you have to treat this as a job. So people think that I'm exhausting because I look at everything as a job. Even like the working relationship is a job. And then the romantic relationship, the family dynamic is another job. So, when I wake up, I'm like, okay, let me look at my 7 jobs that I have.
Mhm.
These are 7 legitimate jobs that you have, and you have to take them seriously. You have to have to-do lists and KPIs and agendas and manifestations for each of your job, because if you don't, they're going to just fade away and they're just
Yo
going to become survival.
Do y'all ever feel like you're involved in so many things that you're spread too thin and a certain component doesn't get the attention it deserves at a given point?
Really, we put in the right type of management and operators into different aspects of our business. And we design it where there's a lot of incentives to make people want to be the best they could be at their positions. And it comes from so many years of working with people under commission-based strategies that really allows us to kind of take those best practices, incorporate them into our business ventures that we do today. And it's a lot different when you have a lot of experience, and you kind of take that experience and bring it into the new ventures that you're in. So we don't do something that we're not prepared. Like, for example, if, let's say, you want to open up a restaurant with us. Let's say we're going to do a JV together. I'm thinking about all the hard work first, the demolition, the permitting. Like, I'm playing that out in my head first. And if I'm game for it, then we'll do it. A lot like the weight loss, a lot like keto, a lot like everything. Like, you got to really be prepared to meal plan, prepare, train, diet, exercise. So that's what a business venture is about. You
I
don't
feel
go
like
blind.
also it's to answer specifically to your question, there's moments. Yes. Anytime we add something new, I personally feel like, oh my gosh, like I have to make a room for something, because I am very organized and very, like, I take everything seriously, almost too seriously. So yes, sometimes I would feel too thin, but I feel like we're so lucky to be together, because his entire experience is, okay, well, if you're overwhelmed, let's hire somebody, train somebody, and they'll take that. For me, it's always like, no, but I got to do it. No, but I have to oversee this. And if I don't do this, it won't get done. So for me, it's easier to feel like I'm stretched too thin, but then he comes in with his help. Whereas I come in with down to A, B, C, D, E, F, G, like details of not missing a thing. That comes from my accounting background, from my math and physics background, and how I grew up. My dad being a math professor, my mom being a math professor, not missing a number in anything. So I feel like the pairing of both of us makes it possible to consistently grow and add new things without pulling our hair apart, like you said, because the moment we feel like we're getting maxed out, we add help. We add
Yeah.
help. Or we became professional no-sayers too, because
That's key.
that's key, because the more you grow, the more there's new people calling you, Instagramming you, DMing you, texting you, let's meet. I have new ideas. You got to do this. Let me tell you what this. And, for a moment we were excited taking meetings, right? And it just, you recognize that if you're constantly in this inspirational zone, then what is needed, your attention, could be neglected. So that's key, to say no.
Yeah, I feel like having complementary strengths is key to that. My wife and I are very different. I mean, we're complete opposites in so many ways, but like our core values are the same, so it meshes well. What do y'all butt heads on, or is there anything that y'all butt heads on?
Really, I mean, we've been together over 12 years now at this point. It's
Action films.
oh
Action.
yeah,
I don't
I
want
guess.
it.
Well,
I don't want any violence.
I
This
grew up
guy.
in the 80s. My thing is, I like watching, Back to the Future or Commando or any of those type of things that I grew up with, that I feel that are very, because we have a son, right? And he's a real man's man. I mean, this guy will do 60 push-ups. He was doing push-ups with Ben Greenfield, RFK. Like, he does pull-ups, chin-ups, Muay Thai. He's really a man's man. And so a lot of that is
My conscience book said no violence,
she
but
doesn't like any.
he says like daddy, like
Check it
son.
for the gun
So
range,
we
check it
butt
out.
head all day long on that. That's like one thing. I think that's the only thing.
That's about it. Yeah.
But then it was like about the eating healthy, but that was 8 years ago, 7 years ago, that he would, eat the French fries and the mac and cheese and all his American kids diet almost. And then here I am with my 2-year-old and my newborn, feeding them broccoli and grinding the blueberries and cleaning them from, glyphosates. And then
Mhm.
that was the moment too that we so, and that's great about us is when we see there's a conflict, somebody changes because we genuinely care about the family's happiness.
Totally.
And we're both mature enough to understand, humble enough to say, fine, I'm the bad guy in this one. I'll change. And so he does that, and I do that a lot. I'm the fun killer, they call it, because I want early bedtime, this and that, prepare. And he'd be like, let's just roughhouse at 10 p.m. What worse can happen? Let's just rile them up. And the worst that can happen, they'd be jumping off the bed till midnight. But
A lot of wrestling.
best memories.
That night.
So I have to change some of that and be like, fine, let's just all be wired up till midnight. We're homeschooling anyway. So I've changed that, right? That very strict, bedtime, 10 hours sleep, and, wake up, morning routine. Like I do everything like an army, and he's the loosey-goosey guy, but that's fun and they love it. So why do I have to be the bad guy?
Yeah, the little yin yang there is it's tricky, but I think they see it from both ends and they see the benefit of it, and it may take them longer to see the
Yes.
benefit of being orderly as opposed to spontaneous and relaxed, but they'll see it for sure. How,
Yeah.
how do they view nutrition and food? Because like y'all obviously see the significance of it, especially after your transformation. Like, how do you instill that in them so that they're self-motivated to eat the right foods as opposed to going out to their friend's house and whatnot and just eating everything in sight?
Yeah. I love that you said self-motivated, because that's really where it is. Like um, you can't bribe kids to eat healthy. You can't force them. They have to understand, learn, and be self-motivated. So that's what we do. We just educate them, right?
Mhm.
And we show them the results. Like if you keep eating this is what's going to happen. If you keep eating that, this is what's going to happen. This supplement, if you keep taking this is what would happen. The benefits, the damages, and we're also normal. So like on weekends, we'll have ice cream, but now we're big into portion control. The ice cream portions here, even the kitty kid portion is like gigantic. So
Mhm.
I'll go and I'll take the smallest portion and I'll split that in half. And then mommy, gets the trial spoon. And I'm like, this is my portion and it was free. And they often laugh at me. But, it's all about portion control. You could live your best life and have a little bit of everything as long as you can just portionize yourself. More of good thing, some bad thing.
They also understand that they're examples of health now because of their personal journeys that have been documented, because they're child actors. They stepped on stage for Bobby Kennedy's Maha Ball. We all held our hands together in the Maha symbol. They spoke on stage in front of 800 longevity superstars in our premiere of our documentary, Biohack Yourself. And now our daughter is a health journalist for Biohack Yourself, reporting, going to cold plunge events, run clubs. So they understand that they're also leading the charge. And so they watch, what they do, what they say. And they also understand the difference between healthy kids and unhealthy kids, especially our son that plays soccer, does rough sports. And he sees kids that are older than him. And if he's playing soccer, he's able to push them off to the side. And it's because that kid's not eating right. He goes to lunch with them and he sees what they're eating. And he's like, he sees the correlation.
But I think the best thing we did was bringing them to the documentary set and having them interview these experts. And they would sit down for 45 minutes and interview Dr. Steve Gundry, Dr. Danielle Amen, Dr. Tom O'Brien, countless interviews. We actually counted it. It was 40 interviews between Biohack Yourself and Shield that they set through.
And real questions, because remember, you're asking a very respected doctor who's talking photobiomodulation, mitochondria, ATP, telomeres. You can't say that to a 6-year-old or an 8-year-old. So we watched these extraordinary thought leaders talk to them in their own language. And it actually helped us understand what the hell they were saying, because it could get really complicated. So it was amazing to bring in that component, and it really solidified their thinking.
Also, listening from other people other than your parents helps. And that's why they also now want to be out there and talk to their alpha generation. Like our daughter says, I'm not okay with this. Like almost every kid at school, in my previous schools, would eat goldfish. Like, this is insane. I got to change that. And she feels like it's her duty. and she will never touch goldfish or, and packaged food is very rare in our home. Because, you explain to them like, okay, this is packaged, right? How does it stay on the shelves in a package for so long? They have to put chemicals in there for it to stay there. And besides, and for our son gets really grossed out from things. So you have to talk their love language too. And I tell Legend, I'm like, I've seen stories where these factory workers go use the bathroom and they don't wash their hands and then they package these foods. So I bet you somebody's poop is in that package and he won't touch packaged foods. So sometimes, you have to do that, whatever sticks in their head, and then they become the advocates of their own health. And
Yeah.
they'll be there checking ingredients and really asking questions.
What do they want to be when they grow up as a career? Like, do they have a pretty good idea of where they're headed?
Sure. I mean, they've been exposed to so many different things. They want to be everything. But right now, Love wants to be a journalist. This is her new thing. She's like, I want to be a journalist. We have the media company. I can get the microphone. I can go everywhere and ask everyone about their longevity hacks. And I can tell my generation about it because they'll listen to me more than their mom. So that makes sense. Our son Legend, he just wants to be a billionaire on vacation for the rest of his life. So we don't know how he plans to do that, but whatever he said so far has come true. So we're just letting him live in his delusion.
Very good.
Manifester, yeah.
Manifester is very good at assigning things, giving people assignments.
Forget it.
He's excellent at leading a team. I remember because TereZa's mom, she travels between our home and TereZa's other two sisters' homes. So anytime, and she usually comes every 3 months, every 4 months. So there's like a 4-month disconnect. So one morning I walk into the kitchen and
she had just come in
back, and giving her a tutorial. I'm like, what are you doing? Well, I'm teaching her how I like my breakfast cooked. It's like, because
he'll spend the time to train.
Yeah, he'll train her
because he doesn't want to do any, But like, it's so funny, this kid, because Anthony's a very good delegator. Like, he intentionally will not learn to put together cabinets or do any of this manual work because he's like, if I learn it, I'll be tempted to do it. And then my time goes on smaller things that don't bring money and success and happiness. Instead, I could just bring more money and hire the right people. And that's even better because I'm employing someone. So, and then me, on the other hand, like, I must do everything myself, like down to like, I'll put together the cabinets, I'll learn the manuals and I'll just drill it. And I feel so satisfied with creation and doing. So our kids are so conflicted. Our daughter this morning, she wants to, do her room and her laundry and stuff. But then she's like, but then look, I'm going to waste the time from me being a successful journalist. So I want to hire somebody who can do my laundry. But I understand that if I did it, it would give me satisfaction of being clean. So I don't know. I'm confused. It's very funny.
And then our son over delegates. Like yesterday, he took on this hobby of making paper airplanes, right? Or the other day. And I was looking, I was like, so, there's more advanced paper airplanes. Let's go on YouTube.
Yeah, like I have
let's go on YouTube and see what they're really. All of a sudden, my mom, his grandma, is making the paper airplane. He's delegating.
Okay, Glad, make that while I go do this.
It's so funny. So it's interesting to watch them. They're our entertainment, So it's, but as you know, as a parent, it's very, very gratifying and satisfying.
It's the best. It's the best. So I really appreciate the fact that y'all are doing something that you don't feel the need to like retire from or, you just escape from. I feel like a lot of people live in this sense of escapism. They don't have a center that draws them that they're working towards every single day. But do y'all do anything as a family to like totally separate from the norm, to like give yourself a break from the day to day, or what do y'all do in that regard?
Day is like a vacation. I mean, it's a mixed mosh, you know, like yesterday we went swimming, played pickleball with the kids. Then we also got some work done, right? We go out to dinners often, more often than we should because, not a lot of
seed oils
out there, seed oils, but
that's another thing we clash on. Yeah. I forgot. He wants out. I want to cook home.
No, yeah. I like going out. I like ambiance and restaurants and stuff. And then we go to the movies quite often. I mean, that's in a brand new movie that we don't go see. But then we mix it up with what are the learning lessons. from the movies, right? Like even something as simple as what's that movie with Simba, Lion King, the other one that was
Mufasa?
the Mufasa one.
Yeah.
You know,
If we're watching a movie, it's a
yeah,
whole
we're having
podcast
like a
after that.
podcast after, you know, because there's different mindsets. Like, what'd you get out of it?
And
What'd
we
you get?
ask questions until they're ready to think of something. Like we won't give up. We ask the question from 10 different angles until we make them think. What did they just observe? What did they just watch? And can they reiterate something that they gained out of it? So that is helping shape their brain and their understanding.
And we have different perspectives. Like even that Mufasa movie, right? Like if when your kids get of age, you'll probably end up watching it. But you can watch the same movie and have different thoughts about it.
Totally different experience.
You know, and just to not to harp on it, but the father, right, was like, look, I don't want this stranger kid coming into the family. He's not blood. Let's not do it. The mom was like, but he's an orphan. Let's help him out. Anyway, at the end of the day, the guy ends up killing the father. Like it was a whole big thing. But the way the movie is portrayed, it's that whole family is forgotten. Like it's a very interesting thing depending on what side of the pendulum you're on.
Yeah.
And depending on your family dynamics, you might root for the mom who was like, let me take care of that orphan. Let me help him out. Or you might say, but then the dad was right. We shouldn't bring in this
because then the brother who turned into Scar started becoming jealous of the connection of Mufasa and the mom, which is why he became Scar, and then which is what we watched in Lion King. So this Mufasa is the movie before what happened to Mufasa and Scar.
Like the origin story. I like it.
Exactly. You should watch it because your child.
Yeah. So
it was very interesting, and we have different opinions. So it's interesting to discuss this with the kids and see what they understood. But as you were saying, something out of the ordinary. Like you said, almost every day is like a birthday or we have this freedom of choice. We can choose whatever we want to do. But something that we have been keen on doing is spending an entire year. Once the kids are a year ahead in homeschooling, in their grade level, let's take a year and go live out.
I'll let him out 1 second. Go.
And we want to go live every 2 months or 3 months in different countries.
Nice.
So in the top list is Switzerland, Japan, potentially Spain or UAE. And then, of course, Armenia. I want to send the kids to like an Armenian camp or something because I'm from there. My dad is there. My whole family is there. And they want that, the roots, and deepening that. So that's something out of the ordinary that you're saying, because homeschooling has given us that opportunity to be free. Owning our own media business has given us the opportunity to be completely hands-off with work too. We can run this company from anywhere in the world, even from Mars. We joke about it. But so that's something we plan on doing.
No, yeah. I mean, they're seeing so much. I mean, the other day we were shooting a photo shoot for Laura Trump, who's on the cover of our next magazine. And our daughter Love is there, doing the behind the scenes and reporting on that whole experience, and seeing that Laura is like a busy mom too, right? She has multiple kids. She has a fitness program. She's a journalist. So there's a lot of cool things that the kids get to see.
Yeah. That expose them to as much as possible, at least up until age 8 to 10, because that's when they shape their identities and their brains.
Yeah, I think exposure is key. I mean, like when my first son was born, I was speaking at KetoCon. I was doing 5 competitions that year. Like we took him everywhere. Like he was in the competitions. Like just a few weeks old, he was at KetoCon walking around as I was speaking. It's like,
are you going to be at Hack Your Health? By the way,
yeah.
That was we're the media company for Hack Your Health.
Yeah. We'll be there.
Sweet, sweet.
Yeah.
Well, I'll be there
Biohack
speaking, so we'll definitely have to meet in person there. That'd be awesome.
That's awesome.
Nice.
Yeah. Small world.
This will be the first year they've done it in Florida, so I'm excited to see how they change it up with it being a new location.
Oh, yeah, that's good.
It'll be good.
That's good.
What are y'all excited? I mean, y'all excited about all kinds of things. Y'all got all kinds of irons in the fire. But like, what's top of mind when y'all wake up first thing in the morning now?
From the 7 businesses, let me look at my. I'm personally excited about our dental documentary because not only we're gonna completely revolutionize the dental industry. This is the first of its kind revolution that the dental industry is gonna go through. If you know anything about the dental history, there has never been a sophisticated way of doing dentistry. Like back in 1600s, barbers used to pull out teeth in public squares. Very unsanitary, very barbaric. In the 1700s, there was this guy that came, Dr. Fouchard came in and said, look, we're going to look at this as more like a specialty and treat this a little more sanitary. But then after that, it's just gone down the wrong path. Like there's never been the old school ancient methods work. Like in biohacking world, we're going to old school methods with the new tech. In dental world, there is no old school ancient methods. There's never been holistic ways of doing dentistry ever. The holistic way was barbaric and unsanitary. And then it got modernized, and then there was greed, there was industrial world, and all of this brought in the metal implant, mercury filling.
There wasn't enough time testing.
Yeah, and is this really like a part of your overall health? Like nobody, now for the first time, we're saying this can literally control your entire body. You can biohack your life out. But if you have cavitations, root canals, and bacteria and parasites inside of your gums, you're doomed. None of the biohacks will work.
Quality of life can diminish. Like
Yeah.
literally July 1st, I almost died. I had to go through an emergency surgery. And that's me doing all
brain optimized,
everything,
like blood work
from a
optimized,
botched
everything.
implant surgery,
Sinus lift.
So every time I go to the dentist, it's the weirdest thing. Like I'm pretty proud of my teeth. Like I've never had a cavity, never had braces. I still have my wisdom teeth. Like I've never anything done except get them cleaned, which is good. But what's crazy is every time I go to a dentist, like they treat me like I'm some unique specimen because they don't ever see that. Like that's just not normal. And I feel like this should be something that is more normal than it is.
Yeah. So we're going to bring all of that to light with the fathers of biological dentistry that we've hand selected, some of the most notable biological dentists that are leading the charge. And we're going to bring their practices and going to create basically a tutorial program. So the dental students can take notes, and the traditional dentists that are really kind of on the verge of converting, but they don't have the time, they don't have the pathway of how to get started. This is going to be a good start. And for people like you and I, the audience should be demanding non-titanium implants. They should be demanding ceramic implants.
Totally.
They should ask, what kind of filling are you putting in my mouth? How are you going to do this? Why are you doing this root canal? Like, what does it mean? Ask questions. And so we're going to discuss all of that. So we're very excited to completely revolutionize an entire industry. And in the meantime, to do a dental makeover for both of our moms, who both have horrific things done to their mouth. Like my mom is losing her memory at a very young age, 62, all tied to her root canals. She's had 13 of those, and she has metal implants. So we're going to rewire her brain. My dad has ulcers like inside his gum, like all of these wrong techniques that has led them to have some health issues while they were the healthiest people, living a very organic, holistic, Armenian life, eating from the ground, like all of it you could think about, biohacking lifestyle, except for the teeth. And that has been their detriment.
And when is that documentary slated to go live?
We're filming it now.
End of 2026. First, we got to film finish, and then we'll have a better idea how long we want it to be in the film festival circuit. Like we do that, we give the film a chance to go collect awards, because the more awards, the more public.
And it plays in theaters. It plays from, and it gets selected. The Biohack Yourself documentary won how many awards? Like
10 awards, and it was selected to play in 9 theaters,
right,
which is huge. Now, we wanted to get this out as soon as possible, so we kind of cut the cord. If we let it go and run in the film festival circuit for a whole year, it would probably collect 60 awards. But do we do that, or do we let the public see it? So we kind of made a decision to release it early. And so, we'll probably release the dental one, end of 2026?
Yeah.
Beginning of 2027, yeah.
And if somebody wants to just watch everything that y'all have put out, where's the best place to do that? Is that like on Netflix and Amazon?
Well, they're on Amazon, Apple, Roku, Tubi, Plex. They can go to lollibrands.com and really look at our portfolio that's on there. Or if they go on Amazon and they type in the word Lolli, Lolli, all of our work comes up. That's the beauty of the algorithm. In the health and wellness space, we have the most amount of documentaries as a production company in that genre. So anytime you watch from Fat Lolly to Six Pack Lolly, it's going to recommend the Super Lollies or Biohack Yourself. Or even if you watch some of the other documentaries, Fat, Sick, and Nearly Dead, that was a very popular one. Our documentaries come up as recommended content. That's why we love this aspect, because while everybody was focused on TikTok, on YouTube, our algorithm focus was documentaries on the streaming platforms. So we're really in rarefied air with our portfolio. And because we've produced, directed, and starred in all of them, anytime you watch one, it always recommends our other portfolio.
Well, it seems like in the health and wellness space, documentaries as a medium has like this crazy exponential growth potential. I mean, like when you look at the Game Changers documentary that came out several years ago, like that went freaking viral, and there were so many response videos to that. There's been several great rebuttals to that since then, but it's like, I mean, podcasts obviously make an impact, but it seems like as a whole, from a medium standpoint, documentaries in the health space tend to create the most change or conversation, which is super awesome if it's a well done documentary.
Absolutely, because like print, the documentary is forever.
Yeah.
And you put a lot of thought into it, right? Unlike, impromptu or something on social media was just, you were just thinking at that moment. This is something you plan ahead for. Our documentaries are multi-million-dollar documentaries that what we do a good job of is really starting the promotional engines even before the documentary is released. So in the case of biological dentistry, we're going to get ready to start promoting a lot of the shorts, a lot of the reels, a lot of the trailers far in advance of the movie's release, because we like to introduce the cast to the world so the world can benefit from listening to their podcast, maybe attending a seminar or an event that they're speaking at. And then the documentary is kind of like the icing on the cake to tie it all in together. So yes, you're right. Documentaries are something that are forever. Like our children just watched Titanic. That's an old movie. These things, they recycle, and they bring, Back to the Future, all these old movies, they resonate.
Well, I'm definitely gonna have to come knock on y'all's door for some insight at some point, because I've got it in my head to make a documentary around the sport of natural bodybuilding, because that's such a, I don't know, like when I think of all I've learned in the because I came to health and keto and nutrition and biohacking through natural bodybuilding. And there's so much unhealth and disease states, and bodybuilding gets a bad rap because a lot of people take performance enhancing drugs and like they just don't know the whole thing. But like natural bodybuilding is like the closest thing we've come to like true biohacking, like doing things healthy, doing things
She
for the long game
competed in
approach.
OCB. She had to take the urine test and all that stuff.
Yeah. So like I compete. I'm pro in the WNBF. I'm actually going to promote a show for the first time this year. So we're sanctioning all natural athletes, and it's a totally different sport than what people think of when they think of enhanced bodybuilders. But the world would benefit from knowing more about what's possible naturally, because so many people just assume that everyone that's got any muscles is on gear. So I want to bring that to the public eye more. So yeah, I'll definitely be looking y'all up for some insight and direction at some point for sure.
Absolutely. Anytime.
Sounds good.
Well, I will see y'all in I guess is it November? Hack Your Health is November.
Yep.
It is November, yeah.
So I will see y'all in person November. Super excited about that. Thoroughly enjoyed this conversation. We can talk about parenting, lifestyle, business all day long. Again, where do people go to find out more about y'all and follow along?
Instagram is Biohack Yourself Media. That's really where we post a lot of our content, or biohackyourself.com. Our personal Instagrams are Anthony Lolli, ANTHONY LOLLI, and TereZa Lolli, LOLLI. And TereZa's with a Z, not an S.
Awesome. Well, I'll link out, make it easy for people to find y'all. And truly appreciate the time. If there's anything I can do to help, you just let me know.
See you soon.
Thank you.
Y'all take care.
Bye-bye, you too.